Yeah, with regard to the housing project to take place now, we're so glad that our guest has arrived. The 100 million rand low-cost housing project in Dube, Soweto, south of Johannesburg, that started in 2009, has been reduced to dilapidated structures due to looting. The allocated area, where approximately 1,870 low-cost housing units were built and completed, now looks like a war zone. No one has ever occupied these houses. These houses were stripped of bricks, of the doors, of the windows, of the roofs, of the toilets, of the baths, you name it, it's gone. The Gauteng Department of Human Settlement is allegedly planning to rehabilitate this project now. Well, joining us on the program is Keith Khoza. He's the spokesperson of the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm glad you could make it this morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
All right, so 100 million rand lost, and I do say lost because you, as well as I, have seen what this looks like, and you saw the photographs. I mean, how do you feel about that?
It is sad. It is waste of lots of money.
Yeah.
Because it was meant to address a particular problem. It never got to do that. And as a result, we're sitting with the problem that we're sitting with at the moment.
Yeah. So, okay, whose fault is this?
Whose fault is it? It's interesting. Well, when the Department of Human Settlement completed the project, like what we've done with all other projects that were meant for accommodation that was alternative to hostels, we hand them over to the city to do their allocation, and they take responsibility from that point, because the province does not maintain or service hostels. It is a city's responsibility. So when the project was completed, it was handed over to Joburg Metro at the time. And when they were supposed to allocate, there was a disagreement with the hostel dwellers. They said the cost of rental, which at the time was about 750, they said was too much for them to pay. They can't afford to pay that. But at the same time, they would not allow anybody coming from outside to take occupation of those houses. So there was a standoff between the city and the hostel dwellers. Initially, the hostel dwellers had offered to protect the facility, and over time, that security disappeared, which left the structure open to abuse. And people started by stealing doors, stealing things that they could take at night, to a point where they could openly start removing things during the day.
Yeah.
There was no security on site, and it was a field day for anybody who wanted to steal anything. And it ended up being what it is now.
Okay, so the city of Johannesburg has refuted this. They say that this was never handed over to them. It was a very incomplete handover, and that you guys are speaking rubbish, that this has got nothing to do with them. They'll continue to give services, but at the end of the day, it was never an official handover. That what they're saying is for a period of about 2 years prior to the 2016 local government elections, some residents decided to loot the GDHS incomplete flats. And they say that the comments from the MEC's office are extremely unfortunate, and they request the MEC, this is Paul Mashitile, clarifies the position with members of his administration. That's what the city of Joburg is saying. They say that this is not their responsibility, and it is in fact your responsibility.
It's unfortunate it has come to that the city wants to distance itself from what is happening. The issue at hand is that it's an established practice between us and the city that once a development where rental is involved is completed, it's sent over to the city, which what has happened. That happened under the MEC, Ntombi Mekwe. She transferred the property to the city. When we went there in March with the MEC and the MMC for housing from Johannesburg, there was no issue about where the responsibility lies, to a point that the city said they were at the point of appointing a service provider to repair the damage. As we speak now, the city has appointed a structural engineer to do the costing of the damage that was done, because they understood that it is their responsibility.
Yeah.
And that when we were there in March, the MEC was even saying to the MMC, we are willing to assist where possible because we have put in money into this development,
Yeah.
and
So,
we will not allow it to not to be used for the purpose it was meant for.
look, looking at this, it's probably going to cost the same amount. I mean, there is nothing left. Everything is removed. It's gone. It's empty. It's just bricks lying in piles and a little bit of a shell of a house. So, to be honest with you, this is going to cost probably more than 100 million rand once again to rebuild it. Is it worth rebuilding?
It is, because there are still people staying next to the hostel dwellers. The conditions at the hostel, because when we went in March, we also visited the hostel just to look at the conditions. The conditions are appalling in the hostel, and we have no choice but to give those people alternative accommodation. Actually, the MEC at the point even said, let's forget about the issue of who could not pay what. If we have spent so much, rather than it lying in decay, allow these people to move in. And it was where the discussion was that let's put the past in the past. Let's look at what we can do to repair and allow people to move in. We've had discussions now with Izindunas at the hostel to see what we can do to assist the city to rehabilitate those structures where we can rehabilitate and rebuild where they need to be rebuilt.
Yeah,
At the time they said they might need an additional 30 million in terms of what they have in their coffers, and the MEC was saying we'll look into what we can get out of our coffers to assist the city to do those repairs.
What went wrong with the rental payments? Because the residents were under the impression that they will only be paying for electricity and water. It was then later decided that rent would also be included into this. So residents were expecting 250 to 500. It then went up to about 700 rand. And this, of course, is where all the issues started. Where was the miscommunication? What happened here?
Well, there's a problem in that most of the structures that were built for hostel dwellers, even in Diepkloof, the units that were built in Diepkloof, just to digress a little bit, they were meant to accommodate hostel dwellers. But if you look at their salary levels, it is beyond what they can afford. I mean, if you stay in a hostel, you pay about 100 rands for a bed. And then when you get allocated a house, all of a sudden you have to pay close to 1,000 rands. And hostel dwellers were saying, but it is beyond what we can afford.
Yeah.
So that is why the minister then gave a directive at some point to say, stop the current alternative accommodation for hostels at the prices at which they are going, so that we'll look at a more practical approach to it. Because we will build them, but they will never take occupation of those structures. And the problem is that once you build them in the proximity of the hostels, they also don't allow anybody from outside to come and stay in those structures. Most of these have stood empty for quite some time because of that disagreement. The amount required to recover the investment that is put into the building, and as well as what they can afford to pay for.
There's also the issue of what's happening in Diepkloof, because it seems like the same situation is about to unfold there. Similar project that was launched in Diepkloof in Zone 6, low-cost housing units. They built, they empty, and they're probably going to be looted as well at this rate. And I mean, they're just going to stand there and nothing's going on. So it seems like this is something that is a common practice.
It's a common problem, but at least in Diepkloof now people have started. They have allowed people who can afford the rental quantum to go in as we speak now. Some of the units are occupied, and people have shown interest. We have agreed that we will pitch at an RDP level in terms of subsidy for those that can't afford to pay the rental that's required. So we are now moving away from building those expensive structures to building more affordable structures so that we accommodate the situation the hostel dwellers find themselves in.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. Unfortunately, we wanted a little bit more time, but unfortunately you were late for the interview. So what are the plans? What's going to happen now? You blaming the city's blaming you. Where do we go from here? People are homeless and living, as you said, in these hostels in the most awful conditions.
Well, it's unfortunate that the Member of Parliament from DA went out in public to attack the province on the conditions of the Dube hostel alternative structures. We were in a process of helping the city. That's why I said we went there in March out of concern to look at what can be done, because we could not sit by and say it's the city's problem. We said the state of the structures calls for an intervention. Even though we've transferred the buildings to the city, we are willing to work with the city to sort out the problem. But also, we are saying to local government, let us look at better options going forward that are affordable, and that are going to be within the range of the affordability of hostel dwellers, and also rehabilitating some of the structures that can be rehabilitated in the instance of Dube.
All right. We will hopefully pick this up again next week, and we can bring in the City of Joburg to get their view after what you've said. We'd love to speak to them too. Keith Khoza, the spokesperson for the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements, here talking to us on Morning Live. All right, let me just find out if we